I promised to transfer schools with my childhood friend who was being bullied. But she changed her mind the day before the paperwork was finalized. Her friend teased, "Wow. You're something else, pretending to be bullied all this time just to trick Joaquin into leaving with you. He's your childhood sweetheart. Aren't you worried about letting him go to a strange new school all alone?" Lydia replied flatly, "It's just another school in the same city. How far could it be? I'm tired of him sticking to me all the time. This works out perfectly." That day, I stood outside the door for a long time, then finally turned away. On the transfer application, I crossed out Third High School of City C and replaced it with the foreign school my parents wanted me to attend. Everyone forgot between her and me there had always been a gap as wide as the clouds and the mud. Chapter 1. The moment I heard the truth, my heart trembled violently. For the past month, Lydia had been beaten, framed, and humiliated countless times. I tried my best to protect her, but I couldn't always be there in time. Finally, when I couldn't stand it anymore, I suggested she transfer schools. At that time, Lydia had just been doused with ice water. Her delicate face was pale and pitiful. She grabbed my hand helplessly. "Joaquin, I'm scared. I don't dare go to a strange place alone." Lydia and I had been childhood friends since kindergarten, always going to and from school together for over 10 years. And deep down, I'd quietly fallen for her. So I blurted out without thinking, "Don't be afraid. Wherever you go, I'll go with you." But only now did I realize all of it had been an elaborate act to get rid of me. I couldn't help but wonder, did Lydia really hate me that much? Inside the private room, voices continued. "Joaquin really is hopelessly devoted to you. Aren't you afraid he'll fall for someone else once he's at another school?" "Him?" Lydia let out a mocking laugh, as if she'd just heard the most ridiculous joke in the world. "He stopped a whole group fight for me. Even when he got beaten black and blue. He didn't back down once." "You think he'll suddenly stop liking me?" someone muttered. "But what if? Joaquin doesn't seem like someone to mess with." Lydia's tone turned lazy. "There are plenty of pretty girls at First High. Have you ever seen him look at anyone else?" Her voice carried a trace of disdain. "All he ever does is follow me around. He's even clingier than a loyal puppy." The room erupted into sharp laughter, each sound like a slap across my face. I wanted to leave, but my feet felt rooted to the ground. I listened and hurt. Someone clicked their tongue in amusement. First time I've seen someone personally push away a guy who adores her. Respect, girl. But if you don't like Joaquin following you around, why not just tell him directly? He doesn't seem the type to pester anyone. Lydia made a small sound of annoyance. "Joaquin's too overbearing. If I told him outright, it wouldn't be that easy to make him go." Then her tone shifted. "Besides, Oliver feels insecure whenever he sees Joaquin. He only feels better when I'm with him. For Oliver's sake, I had to do it this way. Joaquin will just have to be wronged for a while." The room fell silent for a second, then everyone understood. By the timing, Lydia had started pretending to be bullied. Just a week after Oliver transferred to First High, someone laughed and said, "Damn, girl, you move fast. The new little puppy-faced boy just arrived and you already have your eyes on him. But Oliver is adorable, gentle, delicate. Any woman would be drawn to him. Unlike Joaquin, cold and distant all the time. He might be handsome, but that icy attitude ruins it." Their comments about me rose and fell like waves, crashing over and over again. And Lydia, the girl I had secretly loved for years, didn't stop them. She didn't deny anything. Sometimes, she even agreed. Standing outside the door, my heart sank deep into a dark abyss, empty, suffocating, and heavy with pain. For a moment, I wanted to fling the door open and demand answers. Ask her why she deceived me. Ask if she felt even a shred of guilt when I got beaten protecting her. Ask if she'd ever thought about Our 10 years of shared memories. But then my mother's words echoed in my ears, don't do unnecessary things. People don't rot overnight. I turned around and walked away from that room. Chapter 2. The pain came quietly. In fine, piercing threads, delayed but deep. At first, I didn't think I'd feel this heartbroken. Being betrayed by a friend, well, that's something people eventually move past. But the one who crossed that line of friendship first was Lydia. The day we decided to transfer schools together, she dragged me to a bar to celebrate our so-called freedom. Under dim, hazy lights, I looked at the girl I'd secretly loved for years. My mind drifted. So when she leaned in and kissed me, I didn't push her away. All the feelings I had buried for so long erupted in that instant. Wild and unstoppable. Unable to restrain myself, I asked softly, Lydia, what are we now? Lydia smiled indulgently and kissed my forehead again. Silly. What else could we be? The private room burst into cheers. Loud and warm, just like the rush of emotion flooding through me. I never imagined that only 2 days later, I would hear Lydia herself shatter my illusion. I laughed. But the tears came on their own, slipping down uncontrollably. So that vague, teasing answer of hers back then was just part of the act to drive me away faster for Oliver's sake. Wasn't it? The wind chime in my bedroom swayed and jingled softly, drying my tears bit by bit. My broken heart began to piece itself back together. Lydia Lynn was wrong about one thing. She might be the illegitimate daughter of the Lynn family. But I am the sole heir of the Chan family. We were never meant to be close. Because we don't belong together. The transfer form in my hand was soaked with my tears. The ink bleeding and smudged. Looking as dirty as I felt. But that's fine. If one sheet gets ruined, I can always replace it with a clean one. The Chan family never runs out of replacements. I printed a new application. When I reached the section for transfer destination, I paused and called my mother. Mom! That school abroad you mentioned. Which high school was it again? Yes. I'll go alone. The wind chime rang again. Crisp and clear. As if celebrating with me. I closed my eyes. This time, the face before me wasn't Lydia's. It was another woman, one who resembled Lydia slightly. But was softer, gentler, and far more genuine. She smiled at me the same way she had 2 years ago, with calm certainty in her voice. Joaquin, one day, you'll give up on Lydia and choose me. Back then, I thought she was joking. Now, I whispered in my heart, Lydia, I really don't want you anymore. When I finished filling out the new form, I exhaled deeply. For the first time, my heart felt calm. Then, someone knocked on the door. I froze. This house had always been mine alone. The only person who knew the passcode was. I opened the door. As expected. It was Lydia. Her voice was as soft as ever. Joaquin, you haven't come to say goodbye to everyone. I was worried about you. I forced my tone to stay even. My stomach doesn't feel well. I'll skip it. Just as I was about to end the conversation, something in the corner of my eye caught my attention. A thin, fragile figure standing beside Lydia. Oliver. The moment our eyes met, he flinched. Lydia watched his every move closely. Then immediately drew him into her arms as if to shelter him. Joaquin, you scared Oliver, she said. There it was again, Oliver. Always put on that fragile act. Like I was some irredeemable villain who bullied him. But I hadn't done anything. My expression turned cold. I told you. I don't like people coming to my house. Lydia frowned slightly. Displeased. Oliver isn't an outsider. And he only came because he's worried about you. Before I could protest, Oliver's eyes reddened. Joaquin, I'm sorry. I know you've always looked down on me, but I do shower every day. He looked so aggrieved as he added, I won't make your house dirty. At Lydia's words, she knitted her brows and looked at me with disapproval. Joaquin, Oliver's just from a poor family. But he's not as terrible as you imagine. You treating him like that really disappoints me. Oliver tugged Lydia's sleeve cautiously. Forgiving and understanding. Lydia. It's okay. Don't fight with Joaquin. He sniffed and offered a small, wronged but stubborn smile. After all, Joaquin said you two are childhood friends. How could I possibly compete with that? You must be kidding. You're a one-of-a-kind presence all by yourself. Lydia cupped Oliver's face with tenderness and soothed him in a soft voice. Then she turned to me. Her face was icy as if frozen. She spoke gravely. Oliver is upset. I'll take him away for now. Think about your behavior. Don't forget the transfer form still needs to be stamped. I did reflect on my failure to see people clearly. Then I went and changed the passcode for the front door. The tight knot of anger and hurt in my chest finally loosened. If only for a moment. Chapter 3. The next day, I took the new transfer form to school to get it stamped. As the bright red seal marking my departure landed firmly on the paper, my heart suddenly felt hollow. For a moment, I stood there in a daze. Then someone blocked my path. Lydia frowned slightly. Joaquin, did you change the password to your front door? After I sent Oliver home yesterday, I went straight to your place, but the door wouldn't open at all. I cut her off. My voice calm. Yes. I changed it. She looked displeased, as if nothing had happened, and asked with her usual false warmth. What's the new password? I can come take care of you. That won't be necessary. I replied evenly. I won't be living there after I transfer. Lydia's gaze dropped to the folded form in my hand. Her expression flickered, like she'd just remembered something. Oh right. I forgot about that. Don't worry. Joaquin, I'll come by tomorrow to get mine stamped too. It had been a long time since we'd walked and talked like this. Ever since Oliver transferred to First High. Moments like this had grown rarer and rarer. I closed my eyes briefly, letting myself feel the dull ache of attachment before I spoke. Testing her tone. Between us. What's there to worry about? Lydia stayed silent for a long moment. Then suddenly, she said, Joaquin. Actually Before she could finish, Oliver appeared behind her, his arms full of notebooks. Lydia. You said you'd help me study, why'd you disappear? He handed her the notebooks, smiling playfully. I saw your tutoring plan. Already goes 2 months ahead. So I brought the study materials that match. He winked. You don't mind me peeking, do you? How could I? Lydia forced a smile, stealing a nervous glance at me. But when she saw I didn't react at all, disappointment flashed across her face. So, while you were pushing me away, you were already making plans for a future with someone else. A future that never once included me. I forced myself to stay composed, though the bitterness inside spread like strong wine and slow, burning, endless. I clenched my palm hard, grounding myself. You two talk. I'll head out first. Oliver turned as if he'd just noticed me, pretending to be startled. Joaquin. Are you upset because Lydia's been studying with me? But I come from a poor family. I don't have the resources you do. His voice broke again, pitiful as ever. I didn't want to keep playing along with his performance. My tone turned cold. Move. Whatever hint of guilt Lydia had in her eyes vanished. She grabbed my wrist, anger flaring. Joaquin. What kind of attitude is that? Without warning, she yanked me toward Oliver and shouted, Apologize to him. Inside me, the last clean corner of my heart shattered into dust. This time, I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand and slapped Lydia hard across the face. Lydia, I said, my voice low and trembling with fury. The one who should apologize is you, but not to Oliver. To me. Chapter 4. I began packing away all the things Lydia had given me over the years. The tie, her gift for my 18th birthday. I wore it to school once. Not long after, I saw Oliver wearing the exact same one around his neck. He blushed and said shyly. Lydia said, "Whatever someone else has, I'll have too." The limited edition figurine, only the box was left. Lydia had taken the figurine itself, saying she liked the scent of my cologne that lingered on it. But the very next day, I saw it sitting on Oliver's desk. Then there were the custom leather shoes from my coming-of-age ceremony, the indigo-scented diffuser. Everything I thought was unique, something only I had already been shared with someone else. No, not even shared. Given away, preferentially. I thought of how tenderly Lydia treated Oliver. Her endless indulgence toward him. A cold, bitter smile curved at my lips. If that's how it is, then these things have no reason to exist anymore. I booked a flight for the next day, ready to spend one last quiet night before leaving. But at 2 a.m, my phone rang and dragged me out of sleep. Half asleep, I pressed accept. For a while, there was only silence. Then Lydia's voice came through. "Joaquin, I'm sorry." In an instant, my mind cleared. If she was finally ready to tell the truth. Lydia's tone turned heavy. Oliver hurt himself. I can't just leave him alone. So, I'll have to delay the transfer for a while. The heart I'd lifted so high crashed to the ground, pathetic. Ridiculous. I wanted to ask her, then what about all the pain I suffered because of your lies? But Lydia kept talking. Joaquin, apologize to him. I thought I misheard. What did you say? Her voice grew firm. You should really apologize to Oliver. Can you honestly say his self-harm has nothing to do with you? For a moment, I had no words. Because I suddenly understood. When Oliver was around, anything I said would always be wrong. Lydia's voice turned cold. Like ice. Joaquin, you've really disappointed me. If you just apologize, I can pretend none of this ever happened. 2 months from now, I'll go to the new school with you. Are you really going to be this stubborn, throwing away all these years of feelings? I heard the threat buried in her words. But there was no longer any bitterness left in me, only exhaustion and disgust. I hung up cleanly. Blocked her. Deleted her number. For the first time, I was truly looking forward to tomorrow's flight. When I landed abroad, the foreign scenery felt like a breath of fresh air. Someone reached for my suitcase. I looked up and met the gaze of the real daughter of the Lin family. Joaquin, she greeted with a small smile. Long time no see. I reached out my hand, returning her smile. Long time no see. Bianca. Before we could say more, my phone rang again. I glanced at the screen, it was one of Lydia's friends. Puzzled, I answered. Lydia's voice came through the line. Faintly anxious. Joaquin, which class at Third High did you transfer into? Everyone I asked said, they've never seen you. Chapter 5. Before I could respond, Bianca's voice chimed in lightly. Joaquin, shall I take you to see your new school first? She looked innocent, as if she were simply being kind-hearted. Lydia's voice suddenly rose. On the other end of the call. Joaquin, you're with Bianca. Where are you right now? I held the phone a little farther from my ear, realizing for the first time how shrill Lydia's voice could sound. Where I am, I said coolly, has nothing to do with you. It was as if she didn't hear me at all. Her voice trembled with disbelief. You went to Bianca just to spite me. To make me angry. You'd even go find that kind of woman. Her words grew uglier with each sentence until I couldn't stand it anymore. Enough. I snapped. Drawing a deep breath, I said firmly. Lydia. The only person who's truly disgraceful is you. That sentence. I finally returned to her. Don't call me again. Whatever we had, it ends here. I hung up. Blocked her number. Deleted it for good. The world went quiet. Sorry you had to hear that, I said to Bianca. My tone softening, but Bianca only smiled faintly. Then make it up to me with dinner. She winked playfully. Consider it my thank you gift. I exhaled and smiled back politely. Of course. The two Lin sisters, what a Striking contrasts they were. When Mr. Lin had his affair and the mistress gave birth to Lydia Lin. The original Mrs. Lin acted with thunderous precision. She took more than half the Lin family's fortune, divorced immediately, and left with her daughter, the brilliant young Bianca Lin. Afterward, Bianca changed her name to Bianca Sun, her mother's surname, and settled abroad. My mother had always admired the two of them. She'd often say that after Mrs. Sun left, the Lin family went downhill fast. The Lin heiress title that Lydia flaunted was nothing but an empty shell. Whenever the topic came up, my mother would sigh. Our Joaquin's too soft-hearted. Of all people, he had to fall for Lydia. Back then, I'd only felt pity for Lydia, thinking she couldn't choose whether she was born to the wife or the mistress. I was grateful that my mother respected my choice. Only now did I realize parents really do see farther than we do. The sea breeze brushed against my face, scattering my thoughts. I glanced at the road ahead and raised an eyebrow. This doesn't look like the way to a restaurant. Bianca laughed. Under orders from Aunt Chan, please forgive me, Mr. Joaquin Chan. I chuckled, turning my gaze toward the sunset glowing over the avenue. Sure enough, the car stopped in front of a villa, quiet, elegant, and expensive. The so-called new school transfer was mostly for show. Bianca and I had both been raised as heirs from a young age. It didn't take long before we each started receiving invitations from the business world. That evening, I wore the black suit my mother had chosen, champagne glass in hand, mingling politely with the guests until I saw Bianca. She wore a custom gown, elegant and understated except for the single violet bloom at her shoulder, which shone vividly against the soft lighting. The people around us tactfully drifted away. I sighed helplessly. Guess neither of us can complain, we're both just doing what's expected. That dinner somehow turned, under the easy words of my mother and Mrs. Sun, into what they called our engagement banquet. We weren't children anymore. Far from naive. Bianca and I simply exchanged knowing smiles and treated it like one of our mother's playful schemes. What we didn't realize was just how serious they were about binding our families together. When my mother gave me a limited edition wristwatch, Bianca soon received the matching women's version from Mrs. Sun. Or when Bianca was gifted earrings. Not long after, my mother handed me the men's counterpart while preparing me for negotiations. We'd grown used to it. But this time, Bianca looked straight into my eyes and said, slowly and clearly, "What if I told you this time? I want it." She took a step closer, her voice gentle and pure, like spring water gliding over smooth stones, leaving ripples in my chest. Or rather, every time golden fireworks burst into the sky above the cruise ship, I looked into her bright, steady eyes, and for the first time in a long while, my heart skipped a beat. And just like that, my story with Bianca began naturally. Inevitably. Chapter 6. After the engagement banquet, my family arranged for me to intern at one of our companies back home. My mother was already envisioning the future. When the time comes, you two can handle the household affairs, and Mrs. Sun and I will manage the business. My father sighed dramatically. Just make sure you keep an eye on your mother, don't let Mrs. Sun steal her away. With all their teasing and high hopes echoing in my ears, I couldn't help but laugh as I boarded the plane home. Before I left, Bianca took one of the little bells from her wind chime and placed it in my palm. She'd always been reserved, graceful in her gestures, but even she couldn't resist using that gentle chime to tell me she'd miss me. Months later, Class A of third year at first, high was already a thing of the past. When my friends back home sent me the graduation photo one, without me, I felt strangely detached, as if it belonged to another lifetime. In the picture, Lydia and Oliver stood side by side. They actually looked rather well matched. I scanned their smiling faces. There was no ache left in me. One of my friends sounded irritated. When you left, we all felt bad. But looking back, it's a good thing you did. You've got no idea Oliver's been acting like he owns the place. Hiding behind Lydia's protection. After you left, he started spreading rumors about you. We tried clearing things up, but there was too much of it. And Lydia, that useless girl, kept defending him blindly. I mean, strangers might not know better. But she, after 10 years of friendship, still sided with him. I sighed and typed back. Maybe in her mind, I've never been a good person. Then frowned slightly. I remember Oliver never used to be this bold. My friend jumped on the chance to vent and sent me a flood of screenshots. See for yourself. They were all from Oliver's social posts. The first one read, "Luckily, because of you, my coming-of-age ceremony wasn't as pitiful as everyone else's." 2 photos accompanied it. In one, Lydia was kneeling to tie his leather shoes with tender focus. In the other, a supposed class photo captured me. In the corner, sweaty and exhausted. I remembered that day. I'd been busy running the ceremony as part of the student council. Oliver must have gone out of his way to catch me looking disheveled. The second post. She told me to forgive her helplessness. Next time, she'll give me a new figurine. My girl. I'd never blame you for that arrogant, overbearing person. The photo showed a familiar limited edition figurine missing the exclusive packaging that had once been mine. The third post. Her restraint is her greatest charm. My girl. After exams, please stop letting the indigo diffuser put you to sleep. The picture captured the corner of that very same indigo-colored diffuser. I scrolled through them with growing disbelief until the last post made my finger freeze mid-swipe. Now, I belong entirely to you. The attached photo. A blood-stained bedsheet. A message popped up from my friend. He's been bad-mouthing you on social media for ages, making you out to be the third wheel. Like he and Lydia had something going on all along. Didn't expect you not to care at all. Ha ha ha. I smiled faintly. It wasn't exactly a lie. Lydia had just wanted the double satisfaction of being adored by both of us. After graduation, he even drugged her. That caught my attention. He went that far. Yeah. My friend replied angrily. It caused a huge scene. Now that he's got a legitimate claim, Oliver's been strutting around like he owns her. Still, posting a bedsheet photo. That's seriously low. I bet Lydia regrets it now. I typed back calmly. Thanks for clearing my name. Don't worry if anything like this happens again. I'll let my lawyer handle it. We chatted idly for a while longer, before my friend sent one last message. It's good you've really moved on. Lydia's not worth it. I stared at the screen for a moment, then replied simply, yeah. There was truly nothing left to feel. The girl I had once loved so deeply was now just another passing topic in small talk. Time, indeed, heals everything. Chapter 7. The company's headquarters was in the same city, so I decided to drive home to pick up some files. My mother had bought me a small villa with a garden, so you'll live comfortably, she'd said. I unlocked the gate, but before I could enter, something made me freeze. Someone was sitting in the hallway by the door. She turned her head, and I was met with a pair of red, swollen eyes. My brows knitted. Lydia, how did you get in here? Then I noticed her knees bruised and scraped. You climbed over the gate to get in, I said sharply. What's wrong with you? She stared at me without speaking for a long time, then suddenly murmured, Joaquin, you've lost weight. I didn't understand what she was trying to do with that absurd greeting, so I turned to leave. But she lunged forward and threw her arms around me so tight it felt like she wanted to crush my bones. Fortunately, my training wasn't for show. I pried her off immediately and wiped my arm in disgust. Lydia, have some self-respect. She laughed bitterly. You're telling me to have self-respect? Joaquin, you and Bianca, don't tell me. You didn't do everything already. What right do you have to lecture me? Her voice cracked, rising into a near scream. Do you even know how long I searched for you? I was going insane. I slapped her. Hard. Without hesitation. Watch your mouth. I looked at her, still trying to cling to me, and exhaled slowly. I went abroad. Lydia. Isn't that exactly what you wanted? You faked being bullied. Let me take the beatings and humiliation for you. What? The plan worked and now you're not happy. The color drained completely from her face. Her lips trembled as she stared at me. Speechless. Why you knew. Joaquin. I can explain. I shrugged. But I don't accept explanations. Then, with deliberate calm, I leaned closer. My gaze shifted to the doorway where Oliver had just appeared. I lowered my voice. Just enough for both of them to hear. You posted that bloody bedsheet photo yourself. I said softly. What makes you think you have the face to show up here again? Lydia. You really are pathetic. I turned and walked inside, calling one of my nearby bodyguards to remove them both from the property. As I passed the window, a shout pierced the air outside. You useless piece of trash, you've embarrassed me completely. A sharp slap followed, loud even through the soundproof glass. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Oliver clutching his cheek, crying. I pulled the curtains closed and sent Bianca my routine message. Busy right now. Miss you. Chapter 8. The next time I saw Lydia was at a welcome dinner my friends had arranged for me. We were all adults now, and conversations in our circle had shifted naturally toward business, partnerships, and investments. The lights were soft, the wine pleasantly sweet, the atmosphere surprisingly comfortable. I ended up staying longer than planned, until an uninvited guest walked in. The room went oddly silent for a moment. One of my friends tugged lightly at my sleeve and whispered, Joaquin. No one invited her. I nodded. I already knew. My friend sighed in relief, then muttered with thinly veiled disdain. That pair's like a bad smell in our circle now. The family's gone downhill. And their behavior's even worse. Especially Oliver, he treats Lydia like some prized possession. Paranoid about every man who looks at her. I tilted my head slightly. Sure enough, Oliver followed right behind Lydia. When he noticed my gaze, he flinched instinctively, then glared at me hard. A pathetic attempt at intimidation. Lydia, seemingly oblivious, walked straight over and sat down across from me. The others scrambled to smooth things over, but I simply stood and made for the restroom, needing air. It didn't take long before someone followed me in. Oliver. He hadn't changed one bit. The same soft puppy boy haircut, delicate makeup, that fake innocent charm, and that spotless white shirt he probably thought screamed purity. A year had passed, yet he still seemed trapped in a high school mindset. What he didn't realize was that in this world, naivete was worthless. Here, only leverage mattered, power, money, influence. And Oliver had none of it left. His emotional value had expired, replaced by the cold logic of utility. Discarded. Just like that. His eyes were burning with jealousy and spite. Wild enough that he looked ready to tear me apart. Joaquin. He hissed. You must feel so proud seeing Lydia still obsessed with you. I looked at him through the mirror, silent. Unimpressed. If a few tears and some melodrama counted as love, then his idea of devotion was truly twisted. Something flickered in his expression then. Disturbingly. He smirked. But you don't know, do you? Your little transfer back in high school, Lydia planned that. She wanted me to stop seeing you. So she set you up. She was never bullied at all. And you got beaten up trying to protect her. Ha ha ha. I didn't react. Because, honestly, there was nothing left to react to. Yes, nothing. Whether it was Lydia or Oliver. Both were already part of a life that would keep receding further and further behind me, and I was certain I would outgrow them and leave them both so far behind they'd never catch up again. Oliver's face twisted in frustration. What's that look? Why aren't you angry? What are you so damn superior about? What gives you the right to act so high and mighty? Just because your family's rich? You're nothing but a spoiled waste who couldn't even keep a woman." His voice rose, trembling with fury, and he lifted his arm as if to strike me. But before his hand could land, someone grabbed his wrist midair and flung him aside. Bianca stepped in front of me, tall and composed, her tone as cold as her expression. "For insulting and attempting to assault my fiancé," she said evenly. "I've recorded everything. You can explain yourself at the police station." She turned slightly, eyes sharp as glass. "Whatever you have to say, say it there." I couldn't help it, a quiet laugh escaped me. She had clearly dressed carefully for the evening, her outfit matching mine down to the subtle details, the cufflinks, the tones of black and silver. Childish, but endearingly so. The police arrived quickly, sirens echoing faintly outside the building. When I didn't return for some time, my friends came to check on me just in time to see Oliver being shoved into the back of the police car. He thrashed and screamed, his voice hoarse. "Who do you think you are? My wife is Lydia Lynn, the only daughter of the Lynn family. Let me go. I need to see my wife." Everyone exchanged knowing looks and turned their eyes toward Lydia. She stood there, watching the man she'd once coddled and defended being taken away, and did absolutely nothing. No tears, no protests, just calm, detached silence, the perfect picture of self-preservation. I looked at her one last time, and in that moment, the bright, youthful girl from my past collapsed completely into ruin. Chapter 9. By the time we finished giving statements at the police station, it was already late. So I took Bianca straight back to my place. The next morning, when I opened my eyes, breakfast was already laid out on the table. Leaning against the doorframe, I watched her washing dishes with quiet focus. "So domestic, aren't you?" I teased. She turned, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, and replied with a playful pout. "I don't even have an official title yet. I've got to act a little domestic, don't I? Leave a good impression on my man. Otherwise, what if he gets mad one day and doesn't want me anymore?" She tapped my nose lightly, half joking, half serious. I couldn't help but chuckle, thinking about how my friends had stared at her last night, wide-eyed and whispering, practically glowing with gossip. I scrolled idly through my phone until a headline made me pause and laugh out loud. "Want an official title?" I said, turning the screen toward her. Well, here it comes. Two bold, sensationalized headlines blazed across the trending list. Chanair's scandalous conduct. Allegedly seduces a married woman. Heir of Chan Group exposed for keeping unknown woman overnight. Both lined up perfectly, deliberate, vicious. Whoever had planted them wanted to destroy me completely. But Oliver clearly didn't realize one thing. Private villas always have surveillance cameras. Before the rumors could spread too far, a video surfaced online. It clearly showed the so-called Lynn heiress clinging to me and refusing to let go while I pushed her away and left. Public opinion flipped instantly. The narrative shifted, so he was the one being harassed. Though skepticism still lingered. Okay, but what about the chaotic private life part? He's so young to be an executive at Chan, who knows which powerful woman he's really staying with. Bianca, meanwhile, was furiously trying to verify and register an official social media account. Her expression so serious it made me laugh. "There's no rush," I said, amused, as she fumbled through security codes. Ignoring me, she leaned over, pressed a quick kiss to my forehead, and said softly, "You shouldn't have to be smeared by anyone's words." A notification chimed. Ding! "You've been followed by Bianca." I glanced down. Oh. Verified account. Official seal and everything. Seconds later, her new account posted its first public statement. "Hello everyone. On behalf of the Sun Group, I'd like to thank our companies Future boss for giving me shelter last night. At Joaquin. The internet froze for a moment. And then exploded. Bianca looked up at me. Eyes wide. Faced the picture of innocence. I sighed and leaned down to kiss her lips. Chapter 10. The alliance between Chan Group and Sun Group advanced steadily. 3 years later, Bianca's son and I were married. The wedding took place in a quaint, old European town, a place where every house had colorful wind chimes hanging by the windows. When the wind passed, they rang with soft, clear notes like the sound of countless sincere blessings. As the ceremony drew to a close, someone handed me a gift. No name was written on the card, but the Lin family's seal was unmistakable. After Bianca officially took over the Sun Group, she had launched a full-scale, corporate assault on the Lin family. If the Lins had already been a collapsing mansion after Sun Madam's departure, then under Bianca's hands, what remained was nothing more than rubble and dust. The family that betrayed her mother, Bianca, would never forgive them. And I had no hesitation in helping her. In fact, I was even harsher. By now, the Lin name no longer carried any weight in our circles. And those who had once betrayed me, I would not forgive either. So when I received Lydia's congratulatory gift, I was genuinely surprised. Opening the box, I found an exquisite purple diamond ring. Radiant, breathtaking, and hauntingly familiar. A forgotten memory from when I was 18 suddenly resurfaced. It was after a mock exam, when I had stayed behind to go over Lydia's mistakes with her. Back then, my whole world revolved around her. I was explaining problems, but in my head, I was dreaming of a future that had her in it, and she wasn't paying much attention either. Her gaze lingered on me, soft and sincere, not yet tainted by pretense. Joaquin, she'd asked quietly, what kind of ring do you like? The question was far too early for our age, and we both flushed bright red. After a moment, I managed to answer in a low voice, purple. I've always liked purple. Lydia had smiled faintly. I'll remember that. The cicadas were singing in the background, that lazy summer hum. And for a fleeting second, I thought about eternity. Bianca's voice snapped me back to the present. Her company's already in ruins. And she still sent a purple diamond. Must have emptied the last of her savings. It was rare for Bianca to sound so cutting. I chuckled, watching her face cloud over with that quiet possessiveness. Donate it, I said lightly. The ring slipped easily from my fingers into hers. Because the truth was, the purple wind chime had come to me long before the ring ever did. Back when Bianca was 16, still a little awkward, still untouched by the business world. She had returned home briefly to assist her mother with some affairs. By chance, she visited the Lin estate and saw the boy who lived next door. By chance, she overheard his mother saying fondly, "Our Joaquin loves the color purple, doesn't he?" And by chance, she had smiled and thought, "That's perfect. Purple is elegant, it's my favorite color too." So, on a whim, Bianca had stayed 2 extra days. She'd even sent for a purple wind chime from overseas. In those 2 days, she witnessed everything. How the Lin family's illegitimate daughter deliberately hurt herself to gain sympathy. How that same boy, kind and naive, grew increasingly protective of her. And in Bianca's heart, a small, fierce seed called envy began to take root. The day she left, she impulsively went to knock on the boy's door and gave him the wind chime. She couldn't hold herself back, and ended up saying something rude. 16-year-old Joaquin just stood there, not angry at all. He only said softly, "Have a safe journey." Later, life was calm and clear, no regrets in this lifetime.